Hey y'all, I'm Paula Deen, and you know when there's a nip in the air, there's just nothing better than curling up with some good old comfort food. And today is just one of those days. So I'm gonna be cooking up some of my favorites that are not only good for your heart, but good for your soul too. I'm gonna be starting with the ladies' chicken noodle soup, and I'm gonna be making my savory herb cornbread to go on the side of it. And then I'm gonna be fixing up oxtails. If y'all have never tried them, now's the time. So y'all set a cozy place by the fire because it's a perfect night to stay in. Such a feel-good day. You wouldn't believe, but in here in the pantry, I've got two dogs sleeping so hard that they're snoring. There's a nip in the air, and today is all about cozy cooking. And I'm wearing one of my favorite aprons. It always makes me feel good just putting this one on. Country cooking makes you good looking. I should be Miss Universe, if that were the case. The very first food is chicken soup. It was the first soup that I ever made for the bag lady customers. But we're gonna start with a pot of water. Now I have a whole chicken here, and this chicken probably weighs 3 pounds. To me, the chicken is easier to pick if he's left whole. And I'm gonna add bay leaves. And some lemon pepper. And Italian seasoning. That Italian seasoning is going to be so good. And I'm adding a few chicken bouillon cubes, in fact 3, just to make sure it's rich enough. And fresh garlic. And some salt. And I want to make sure that that's nice and salty. All right, now we're going to add some pepper to this pot. Oh, I just love onion in here. I love that onion. For y'all that don't know my story, I started 16 years ago with a business called The Bag Lady. And I just desperately wanted to be able to take care of myself and my 2 sons. And, you know, I had no talent, no education, no nothing. So I was a pretty good cook, so that made me turn to my stove. And I began a business in my kitchen at the house, and it was called The Bag Lady, and I would make bag lunches and send my children out to sell them. That was just 16 short years ago. In a way, it seems like a lifetime, but in reality, 16 years is not long. Yeah. You know that they say that chicken soup really has medicinal purposes, and I would say this soup really kind of saved the life of me and the boys. So I think it does have medicinal values. And I know it's going to be wonderful when it's ready. All right, so let's move on. You know, you can't have soup without something to sop it with. Biscuits are good with it. Cornbread is good, and that's what I've chosen to serve with this today. It's just self-rising meal, self-rising flour, dried thyme, celery seed, and marjoram. And I'm just going to give these a quick stir. And I've got 2 eggs. This is a real simple cornbread recipe. And what's a cornbread without a half a stick of butter? Gotta have a little butter. All right, and then we've got 1.5 cups of milk. And I'm cooking mine in a 8x8 square dish. We're gonna preheat our oven to 450, and we're gonna bake it for about 25 minutes. And there's nothing like good cornbread, just nothing, nothing, nothing. All right, so we're just gonna spray our pan. And into the dish it goes. And in 25 minutes, we're gonna have herb cornbread. Well, I've got a surprise for y'all. We're not gonna have to wait 25 minutes for our cornbread. I've got one over here that's been cooking, and I'll bet it's ready. Hey, Rennie, and you smelled the cornbread, didn't you? And the chicken, oh my goodness, you want some chicken? All right. I'll give you a bite, okay? It's kind of warm. Kind of hot, actually, Rennie. Oh, it just looks yummy. Are you ready? I'm not going to let you have any butter. I don't think it's good for you, maybe. Maybe it's not good for dogs. But it makes my complexion pretty, Rennie. All right, here we go. Rennie, you're getting old. I swear, Rennie's old. She's losing it. When we come back, we're going to continue to work on our pot of chicken soup, which I need to cover up. And possibly my favorite one to eat, oxtails and buttered rice. So y'all don't go anywhere. Those oxtails are over the top. We're going to have swinging sirloin, y'all. Isn't that good, Rennie? All right, let's take a look at our chicken. Take him out. All right, we're going to move him right over here. In the meantime, while I'm taking the meat off him, I'm going to put in our celery. And you know, I put the onion in when I first put the chicken in, so we've got that in there. And our carrots. All right, so we're going to let our vegetables cook for a few minutes, and we're going to start picking our chicken. I got so good at this, y'all, it was scary. When I was doing the bag lady out of my house, I picked a minimum of 8 chickens a day just for my chicken salad. That didn't count the other chicken dishes like chicken noodle soup, chicken pot pies. Oh, and this is hot. But you see how easy it is when you start whole, not having all those little bitty pieces. Yeah, this chicken soup the memories just come rushing back in. It kept food in our bellies and house payments going. You know, I love my boys so much. These big old football playing, baseball playing guys out walking the streets with their baskets. And Jamie said, we were talking the other day, and Jamie said, Mama, you know, probably the lowest point was the last year that the bag lady was running, and it was Halloween, and he dressed up like a bag lady, and he had the boobs, and mascara, and his hair was curled, and he looked just like a bag lady. He said, Mama, you should have known then that there was nothing in the world that I wouldn't do for you. He said, because that was so humiliating. This big old 6'4" guy out peddling sandwiches in a dress. You know, girls got to do what a girl's got to do, though, to make a living. And it turned out the right thing to do. There's lots of things that you could use this chicken for if you didn't want to make a great big pot. You could make chicken salad out of it. You could make a chicken casserole. You could make a chicken omelet, chicken cookies. I just wanted to see if y'all were awake. I've never made chicken cookies. I used to didn't think I was ever going to get through picking chickens. Let me give my hands a wash. Chicken fat is a wonderful hand lotion. All right, let's come over here and look. Oh, that's looking good. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add the noodles now. Just add a little fresh parsley. Yeah, I like a lot of those herbs floating around. And to finish our soup off, I'm going to add some sherry. Now, this is optional. You may not like that flavor in your soup, so don't feel like you have to add it. And I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning salt. And I'm going to add some heavy cream. Now, this is optional too, but I like to bring it to almost a cream state rather than a brothy state. So see what that pot's doing? It's just turning almost magic on us with that cream. And I'm going to add a little handful of Parmesan cheese. Well, maybe 2 handfuls that was. Yum. And now I'm going to toss our chicken into our pot. I like to really be able to see the meat. And, you know, in your store-bought soups, the chicken is like in little teeny tiny bite-sized cubes. But I like it where when you dip your soup up, you really almost need to use a knife on some of those pieces of meat. Oh, it looks delicious. All right, and one last ingredient for this, just a few mushrooms on top. And that kind of reminds me of the mushroom soup that you get in your Asian restaurants. Wow. This'll cure what ails you. I know it did me if it hadn't been for the chicken. I don't know what I'd done. Chicken made me the woman I am today, y'all. Thank goodness for chicken. That is so delicious. Now I've just got one last thing to do. I've got some rosemary and some beautiful flat Italian parsley. And I'm just going to drop those in there. Look at that beautiful pot of soup. Look at that bay leaf and oh, y'all gonna just love it. I'll see y'all in a little while. I'm just gonna spend a couple of minutes here with my soup, and then I'm pulling out those oxtails, so y'all don't go anywhere. All right, are y'all ready to cook oxtails? You know, people ask me all the time, Paula, what is your favorite food? And I have to say that oxtails is right up there at the top. This is swinging sirloin. This is the part down here that swats the flies. and this is the end that's closest to the rump. Now, we've tried cutting these at the restaurant by using a hatchet, and it's really, really hard to cut through that bone. So this is something that you'll definitely want the butcher to do. Now I have had this one cut into pieces that are about 2 inches thick. This is a real rich meat because of all the marrow. There's going to be a fabulous marrow that comes out of this bone. People down south just love oxtails, and they would love for me to run them on the buffet at the Lady and Sons, but it's not always feasible because of the price of them. But once in a while I do like to run them. So we're going to take these now and we're going to season them up. And this is just house seasoning I'm putting on them. All right, and I'm going to put just a little bit of soy sauce. I found that this gives them a lot of flavor that you wouldn't have without it. You could use a Worcestershire, but I'm not a big fan of Worcestershire. All right, now I'm going to just lay a few bay leaves in there. And I'm going to put an onion in here. I love that onion. But our house seasoning has salt, pepper, and garlic already in it. But some extra garlic certainly wouldn't hurt it. And I'm just going to kind of peddle this onion. I kind of came up with this way of cooking them on my own. You know, it really just depends on whether you like a lot of gravy or you like just a little bit of the rich stock. So the last thing I'm going to do to these is put just a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan because I don't want them to burn. So that's enough. Now we're going to cover them, and I'm going to let these cook until they're tender, which may take 4 hours. It may take 2 hours, just depending on the quality of the meat. So in 3.5 hours, 4 hours, we're going to have oxtails. I'm going to throw these into the 350 preheated oven. Y'all know that I'm not going to make you wait that long to see a dish. And now I just want to wash my hands. Look at that. This is one of those dishes where you can really make it your own. I think I've just probably given you the idea of how it works for me, so you can make it taste any way you want to. I took the tin foil off of this about 30 minutes ago and let the oxtails kind of brown. Oh, my gracious. Can't wait to taste it with the rice. And then add my favorite little piece to it. Y'all stick around, because coming up next is some more chicken tips. So I'll see y'all back in a minute. All right, let's talk about chicken stock and making a quick pot of chicken soup. Because we don't have all day here to make this soup. So y'all have heard me say before how I love to take my stock and just freeze it. Throw that in our pot, and I'm gonna cheat today by using canned vegetables. I'm using canned potatoes, canned carrots, but I am using fresh celery and fresh onions. Got our carrots and our potatoes. I'm going to throw in my herbs, a couple of bay leaves, We're gonna add our chicken. And if you find yourself running short on chicken stock, just marry the fresh with some canned and you won't know the difference. So we've thrown everything in here. Now I'm gonna dump the pasta. And in 10 minutes, we're gonna have a fresh pot of chicken soup. And don't forget to stop by your grocery store and take advantage of those whole chickens that are pre-cooked. You can bring it home and have a pot of soup in just a matter of a few minutes. Ooh, I had so much fun today cozying up to my stove with all these dishes. The chicken noodle soup, what, Gertie, brought me back to the bag lady days, and herb cornbread. It's all so, so good. Y'all just have to try the oxtails. Give them one shot. You're gonna love them. So until next time, y'all, Gertie and I send y'all best dishes, hugs and kisses from our kitchen to yours.